Confidence begins to grow the moment you decide to move, even before you feel fully ready, because action has a unique way of reshaping how you see yourself and your abilities. Many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect feeling of certainty, but that moment rarely arrives on its own. Instead, confidence is built step by step, through small decisions that prove to your mind that you are capable of doing more than you once believed. When you take action, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain, you interrupt the cycle of overthinking that keeps you stuck in doubt. Overthinking creates imaginary problems, exaggerates risks, and convinces you that failure is more likely than success. But action replaces those imagined fears with real experience. Once you act, you gain clarity, and clarity naturally reduces fear. For example, starting a task you have been avoiding immediately shifts your focus from "what if I fail?" to "what can I learn from this?" That simple shift changes everything because it moves you from a mindset of fear to a mindset of growth. Each small action you take becomes evidence that you are progressing, and that evidence strengthens your belief in yourself. Over time, these small wins begin to stack up, creating momentum that makes the next action easier and less intimidating. This is how confidence is truly formed, not in a single breakthrough moment, but through repeated, consistent effort. Even mistakes play an important role in this process, because they teach you valuable lessons that no amount of thinking alone can provide. When you allow yourself to act despite uncertainty, you also give yourself permission to improve, adapt, and grow stronger. It is important to understand that confidence is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Every successful person has faced doubt, hesitation, and fear, but what separates them is their decision to act anyway. By choosing action over hesitation, you begin to reprogram your mind to see challenges as opportunities instead of threats. This shift does not happen overnight, but with consistency, it becomes a natural part of how you think and behave. The key is to start small and stay consistent, because even the smallest action is more powerful than endless thinking. Whether it is making a phone call, starting a project, or speaking up when you would normally stay silent, each step forward builds your confidence in a real and lasting way. When you commit to taking action daily, you create a habit of courage that strengthens over time, and eventually, what once felt difficult begins to feel natural. As you continue building confidence through action, you begin to realize that consistency matters far more than intensity, because lasting change is created through steady, repeated effort rather than occasional bursts of motivation. Many people believe they need to take massive, bold steps to transform their lives, but in reality, it is the small, deliberate actions performed every day that create the strongest foundation for self-belief. When you show up for yourself consistently, even in simple ways, you send a powerful message to your mind that you are reliable, capable, and committed to your own growth. This sense of self-trust is essential because confidence is deeply connected to how much you believe in your ability to follow through on your intentions. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen that belief, and over time, it becomes easier to take on bigger challenges without hesitation. Inspired by the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy, it becomes clear that the subconscious mind responds strongly to repeated actions and consistent thoughts, shaping your internal beliefs based on what you do regularly rather than what you merely think about occasionally. This means that every action you take is not just a step forward in the external world, but also a signal to your inner mind that you are growing stronger and more confident. When you hesitate or avoid action, you unintentionally reinforce doubt, but when you act with purpose, you reinforce belief. Over time, this creates a powerful internal shift where confidence begins to feel natural rather than forced. It is also important to recognize that progress is not always linear, and there will be moments when you feel discouraged or uncertain, but these moments are part of the journey and do not define your overall growth. What matters most is your willingness to continue taking action despite temporary setbacks, because persistence is what ultimately separates those who succeed from those who remain stuck. By focusing on what you can do today instead of worrying about the entire path ahead, you reduce overwhelm and make progress more manageable. This approach allows you to stay present and engaged, which is essential for maintaining momentum. Over time, the actions that once required effort begin to feel like habits, and those habits become part of your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who hesitates or overthinks, but as someone who takes initiative and moves forward with purpose. This identity shift is one of the most powerful outcomes of consistent action because it changes not only what you do, but how you see yourself in every situation. As your confidence grows, you also become more resilient, better equipped to handle challenges, and more willing to step outside your comfort zone. Ultimately, the journey of building confidence through action is not about perfection, but about progress, and every step you take brings you closer to becoming the person you are capable of being. Another important part of building confidence through action is learning how to manage fear without allowing it to control your decisions, because fear will always appear whenever you step outside your comfort zone. Instead of trying to eliminate fear completely, which is unrealistic, you can learn to understand it and move forward anyway. Fear is often a signal that you are about to grow, not a warning that you should stop. When you begin to see fear in this way, it loses much of its power over you. You stop interpreting it as danger and start recognizing it as a natural response to new challenges. This shift in perspective allows you to take action even when you feel uncertain, and each time you do, you weaken the hold that fear has on your mind. Inspired by the ideas of Dr. Joseph Murphy, it becomes clear that your subconscious mind responds to the patterns you repeat, and when you repeatedly choose action over avoidance, you train your mind to associate challenges with progress rather than risk. Over time, this creates a sense of inner strength that supports you in difficult situations. It is also helpful to focus on the present moment instead of worrying about every possible outcome, because most fears are based on imagined scenarios that may never happen. When you bring your attention back to what you can do right now, you simplify the situation and make it easier to take the next step. This approach not only reduces anxiety, but also increases your ability to act with clarity and purpose. Another key factor is self-talk, because the way you speak to yourself has a powerful impact on your confidence. If your inner voice is constantly negative or critical, it will reinforce hesitation and doubt. But if you begin to replace those thoughts with supportive and realistic ones, you create a more encouraging mental environment. For example, instead of telling yourself that you are not ready, you can remind yourself that taking action is how you become ready. This kind of thinking aligns with the principle that growth comes from doing, not waiting. As you continue to act despite fear, you also build resilience, which is the ability to recover quickly from setbacks and keep moving forward. Resilience strengthens your confidence because it proves that you can handle challenges and adapt when things do not go as planned. Over time, you begin to trust yourself more deeply, knowing that you have the ability to face uncertainty and still make progress. This trust becomes a stable foundation that supports you in all areas of life, from personal goals to professional ambitions. Ultimately, confidence is not about feeling fearless, but about developing the courage to act even when fear is present. And every time you choose to move forward, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of achieving more than you once thought possible.